Happy Monday, degenerates. How is everybody doing today? We are coming to you following UFC Macau. And oh boy, obviously not wearing the baby blues again here this week. It was a tough weekend for your boy. It's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for your boy. Having a hard time finding my footing yet again. And this is one that I could have slept through, man. So I wasn't actually planning on waking up for UFC Macau. It was like 3 a.m. Eastern time. That's 1 a.m. my time. And I knew it was going to end up being like Christmas. You know, you can't quite sleep. You got the little butterflies in your tummy, all that good stuff. And when that happens, you know, you always end up waking up a little bit early. But I ended up having like some old man problems. I had some like acid reflux or something that woke me up at like 2:30. And I was like, well, I'm up. So I was like, I'm up. It is what it is. We're here. So yeah, tough weekend this week, but I've got a fun show for you planned here today. We're going to kind of interact with the chat. We can talk a little bit about Macau. We can talk about the last two events coming up for the year. And then of course, we've got our guy Gino, the inventor, the creator, the man himself, behind Bet Openly. And we're going to do a Q&A with him. Just kind of a cool little interview podcast one-on-one. And Gino, I see you in the chat, my man. I did send you the link to join the show. It should be in your Twitter DMs as well as the text message that I just fired off to you. So you can jump in however, whenever you want to. I guess maybe I should have planned this out a little bit better. I assumed you were using StreamYard for some of the other shows that we do. So that link will jump you right here in the show when you have a minute. Come on in. Welcome to everybody who is watching the show. We've got my guy Aljo Dream in the house. I still can't pronounce your first damn name. We'll stick with Dream. Dixon Sider, what's going on, my friend? PFL fights, maybe at some point we can talk about that. Colby Saul, I see you here. JGO Reed, what's going on? There he is. No, Najee.
What's up, man? I'm like technologically illiterate. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it actually is kind of hilarious considering what you do.
When it comes to social media, I sometimes get on the wrong, I'm in X looking for a live chat. I'm on the wrong side of the curtain. How you living?
There's too many options. There's way too many options these days. It's
damn, my dude. Yeah. Look at my dude Dixon calling me out, ruining my day. Just hanging.
Holy. It is tough business right now, man. I mean, I don't think CMC is ready to be back yet. I think that's pretty obvious at this point.
Are we allowed to talk about football on the show?
You know what? I'll be honest with you, man. Today, it's all about you. So we can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about whatever the chat wants. I got my ass whooped at 2 a.m. at UFC Macau. I shouldn't have even bothered rolling out of bed. The rest of it's off the rails today. So we're doing whatever we want to today.
Let's be positive first. Let's kill them with kindness.
Absolutely.
Ooh. Vikings are good.
Vikings are good.
Let's get to the Niners last. Let's get to the Vikings first. The Vikings are good.
I like it. The Vikings are good. I mean, imagine what we'd be doing if we had our stud rookie QB taken over at about this point in the year. I'm happy with what Sam Darnold's doing. Word on the street is maybe we end up with Daniel Jones as a backup in case we make a playoff run. But I mean, we took the Lions to the limit. There's a lot to like about what's going on in Minnesota right now.
I mean, what was that, week 8? When did you play the Lions? I'm trying to think.
You know what? It was
probably like week 8.
Ballpark.
No, was it more recent? I don't remember.
It's been a little bit. Let me go back.
It was after your bye, but you guys, it was a coin flip game. Between
6.
You and Detroit. Either one of you could have won.
Yeah,
that says a lot because I believe most people would agree that the Lions are the best team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, it sure looks like it. My guy
Your
Jay
division's the
Jack in the
best.
chat saying, Addison. That's right. My boy went off for another touchdown.
I mean, dude, you guys are deep. You're deep in the right places. I get it that Darnold's not your guy. You would throw in a rookie? You would want him?
I am happy to have him sit. I'm one of the few people that I'm like, man, if he can just stay on the sideline with the coach, work on learning the book and the game script and stuff, as long as Darnold's playing well, I don't have any problems, man. And he's definitely blowing the hair back. So I'm happy to have him sit for a year or two behind a winning quarterback and be ready when he starts.
And these are pure rumors, guys. So there's no merit to this. This is just a guy rambling on Twitter. Someone was saying that they legit think Rodgers gets released and that Minnesota should pick him up and not start him right away. Like, he hasn't played great, but that would be a really good backup. I know it sounds weird to have him as the backup. There would be no one that should grab him more than you guys.
That sounds terrible. I want nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers, especially after he single-handedly sunk the Jets this season. I don't want to touch it.
No, I get it. But you're a good club. I'm excited. Your division's the best division in football. No one would argue that. It was supposed to be the AFC North. They just haven't come through at the right time. So.
It's really frustrating that our team is finally turning into a contender when the rest of the division is doing the same. Like, the Bears are the worst team in the league, and they're missing on these games by a field goal a couple times. You know what I mean? They've got a stud QB that's going to get better moving forward. Like, they're not going to be bad in the future either. So it's really frustrating that the Lions have an all-time great team. The Packers have another dynamic long-term quarterback right when we're getting good. We should be owning the division. It's just not that easy.
I get it. It's a tough division. Flipping over to Macau for you. Were there some dogs that came through?
Yeah, there were some big dogs that came through, and they were the ones that we were not expecting. So I kind of called, with these fights, the Asian fighters just aren't quite there yet. The UFC is really trying to grow things over in China, and that market is really big for them. So they're trying to really help the talent along its way. So they're running shows kind of like The Ultimate Fighter, kind of like Dana White's Contender Series over in China. So these guys we're far less familiar with. The level is far lower because they're working on building it. And so it's a lot of fights where it's like we kind of have half bits of information. You have to go a little bit off vibes. You got to take a leap of faith on this guy. None of them are all that great. So you knew crazy stuff was going to happen. But for example, this girl, Fang Zaikan, however you pronounce her name, she's massive. She's gigantic. She knows what she's doing in there, uses her range well. And she's 22 years old, so you're like, okay, she should win this fight. She's a minus 500 favorite to do so. The girl she's fighting legitimately is a doctor over there and is fighting on the weekends without her parents' knowledge to try and become a professional fighter because that's what she really loves to do, but she's scared it'll upset her parents. She's short, she's stubby. It doesn't look like she's got a hope in the world because it's like if she can't take her down, she's never going to close the range. Somehow in the third round, she steps in and head kicks this chick. I mean, we're talking 2 feet difference between these two women standing, and she head kicks her. They went to commercial twice before the other girl woke up. It was like nobody could have ever seen that coming. It was absolutely insane. And the other biggest favorite on the card, which ironically was a women's MMA fighter, is somebody.
What was the name? The name was the one that beat Ricci.
No. The one that beat Ricci was favored. Yan Jianan was the favorite.
Okay. Ricci was a dog.
But Wang Kong has a kickboxing win over one of the current UFC champions, and they're building her. She was fully, someone the UFC is fully behind, giving her good matchmaking, etc. She got cocky, and the girl she's fighting is like a Brazilian, beefcake, and took full advantage of her really just not respecting her striking, put her to sleep, clubbed her, rocked her, jumped on her back, and choked her out. That one was part of my downfall is because I bought in on the Wang Kong hype, and she was top 5 UFC history upset. That's how big a favorite she was. and I played I played the spread on her. I didn't put her in a parlay or anything at like 15 to 1. That, that doesn't do anything for you. But the spread made her parlayable, where you're basically saying she's going to win all 3 rounds or get the finish.
Wow.
And she got clubbed and subbed in the third, or in the second. So it was like, damn, dude, like no one saw that coming. I know like 2 people that had a ticket on the dog.
Wow. Like, what are we talking here? Like plus 1,000?
I want to say the number they quoted was like plus 850.
Okay.
At the UFC, there just aren't that many big dogs because
No, I know.
realistically,
dude, you go 850 and you parlay that. Now you're getting real nasty. Oh man.
Yeah, and the sub was like 50 to 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was insane.
Hindsight. I wanted to make a bad joke, but I didn't want to. Peter Yan. Was that a coincidence that he was the main card? I saw the last name, and I did not. The image was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah, man. He's legitimately one of the best fighters in this weight class. Former champion. Had gold wrapped around his waist at one point. And he's on his way back up to the top. He fought, and the reason that fight was kind of not as exciting as maybe it could have been or was on paper. Davison Figueiredo, also a former champion. When you get super high level in MMA, the fights tend to be a little bit more boring because these guys are defensively solid, and they're not just going to find that weakness and expose it, that kind of thing. So it was a back and forth fight, man. It was a good fight. Jan probably is going to challenge for a title again here in the near future. But he's a very exciting fighter when you give him somebody who's not quite so well-rounded.
So educate me just a hair here. Yeah. You know how the NFL now is playing over in England, playing in Germany. Those are scheduled. Does the UFC have an international schedule where like we get twice in China, twice in Macau, twice in the Middle East, twice? Is that how it's working, or is it just randomly they announce them a couple months before?
Yeah. So they do have contracts and stuff like that in place, but we usually don't find out about them. It's kind of 50-50. We don't find out until a couple of months before. They're always working on it on the back end. But like they come out here to my backyard, they come to Phoenix about every other year. They go to Abu Dhabi twice a year. International Fight Week, they always end up down in Australia. You know what I mean? Like there is kind of a known cycle to it.
I got it.
But it definitely jumps weekends, and you're not sure what it is until about 2-3 months out.
Does Tokyo ever get any love?
No, not really. Because again, it's very expensive, and the Asian market is just not developed yet. So they have one Chinese champion right now, and it's funny. They actually made sure to do a China versus China title fight for their last one, made sure the contender was a Chinese fighter as well, to make sure the belt stayed in China.
That makes sense. Smart.
Yep. They know what they're doing. Yeah. They know what they're doing.
I'm just a geek with UFC. See, I bet it. I just don't know enough to give out advice. I really was hoping a sumo wrestler was on the come up. A Tokyo sumo wrestler was on the come up. So I'll throw in the towel.
Yeah, with the weight cutting the way it is, only the heavyweights could get away with a frame like that. They'd have to lose some weight to make it for the UFC.
It's gonna happen, and you're gonna remember I said this, and you're gonna say that man has an oracle.
That would be awesome. I would love it. All right, guys, everybody in the chat. This is Gino. If you don't know, I've been preaching Bet Openly peer-to-peer gambling for a while now. He's the man who sponsored the podcast for us, and we've been doing a lot with Bet Openly for the last little bit here. So I thought it would be cool to bring him on. We can talk some bullshit. We can talk some football. He can talk about, Bet Openly. If you guys have any questions, fire them off in the chat. Let us know what's going on. Gino, I don't know if maybe just something fun for the people. What got you started as far as gambling goes? I know all of us have a history. So how'd you get rolling in the first place?
Yeah, man. Oh, God. I'm going to go way back here, boys, and I won't drag this out too long because I'm an old man now, and this started real young. But my Italian family, we bet on sports, period. And my grandpa used to give me free bets, basically. He would say, who's going to win? If they do, you win a couple bucks, right? So I was intrigued. I never lost. I pick it. I get a free couple bucks. I watch the game with my grandpa. I don't, whatever. Mm-hmm. And that morphed into, hey, it's your birthday. If you can pick the right team, I'll give you $100. If you don't get anything for your birthday. pretty dark, but it was all in fun. And then my uncles tapped me aside when I was like 15 years old, and they're like, "Dude, you gotta be a book. Books make money, and it's easy. You just got to track it." Mind you guys, this is long before social media. They're like, you just got to track it, get a pager, whatever, take house calls, write the bets down, collect on, up or down 500. So I became a bookie age 15, and I did that for almost 20 years. Did it in my high school. I was in a frat in San Diego State, did it in my frat, graduated, got into tech in San Francisco. All my bros were making decent money selling software, so they wanted to bet on sports. So, and then I got moved down to Argentina by Sequoia Capital, and I noticed offshores were popping up. And I just basically said, why doesn't anyone build like a peer-to-peer network? And that's essentially what I started building. I just said, I didn't even have a business model originally, no 1%. That all emerged later. It was, why don't I just make a site where people can make their own bets and connect with other people, and we'll find out how to make money later. And was down there, flew up, and sounds really shady. I hope the FBI or IRS isn't listening. Flew to Panama to open up bank accounts. Really weird, right? My wife's a Montessori preschool teacher, complete straight edge. And I'm like, oh, I got to leave. I'm going to Panama to open up bank accounts. And she's like, what the fuck did I get into? So flash forward, I was offshore. I was out of the country building this. It was not even MVP ready. That just means minimum viable product. So it was software being built in a bubble that no one could use yet. And magically, PASPA gets overturned. FanDuel and DraftKings, for you younger kids that don't even know this, they were legal. They were kind of like Rebet and Fliff. They were emerging markets that people weren't sure about. And then out of nowhere, the Supreme Court docked them and tried to get a case with them. And they actually won the case. So for you guys not familiar, Fliff recently won a case in California. So I'm not giving my opinion. I think everything should be legal, but just giving you a little bit of history. So once FanDuel or DraftKings, or maybe the two of them were together, I forget the intricacies, won their case. The federal government now said gambling's no longer illegal. That's not the same as making it legal, guys. It's no longer illegal. So long story short, each state then had to decide, and this is actually where you saw the emergence of the prize picks, the underdogs. Certain states started interpreting, well, if FanDuel and DraftKings won their Supreme Court case, we're okay with their model. So that's why a lot of those apps started popping up, and kind of where we are today. I hired a bunch of lawyers. We talked back and forth, and my peer-to-peer model was brought from offshore into the United States about 5 years ago. We've had clients now for 4 years. Right when COVID hit, I opened it up to like friends and family who had like fake money on it just to like make sure that the product worked. And that's where we've grown from now. So we're in 46 states. We have DFS, just like the prize picks and underdogs. We have peer-to-peer. I'm not allowed to house any bets. I'm not allowed to market make. There's a bunch of hoops I got to jump through. And 2025, we got to decide if we want to go they call it, and again, I'll stop talking after this.
No,
they call
you're
it AMOE, sweepstakes model, AMOE, alternative method of entry, sweepstakes, the flips and rebets. We're getting some pressure to build that within Bet Openly. So we're good. What's up, Jason? You want to come on? Should we have him come on? Yeah. Jason needs a little attention. Hey, Jason. Sorry you don't get attention at home. We're here to help you. You need a hug. You need a hug. Well,
lots of people on the internet need a hug. That's always what it seems.
Send me a DM, Jason, of your photo. I want to see you. I want to make a photo of our two faces next to each other.
There we go. My guy Ethan saying didn't know there was going to be a show tonight. What's up, Ethan? Gino, I got to tell you, Ethan's your kind of guy. He comes on my podcast and jumps in the chat and makes a bet with me once a week, and he whips my ass. He whips my ass.
Was he
It's
sharp?
always he's a sharp. It's a
knows his
drinking
stuff?
bet. He waits till I give my MMA breakdown, and he finds the spot that he's like, "Oh, Clint's wrong on this one," and he puts up a shot bet. So me and him are drinking every other week, and it's always me. He gets me.
Damn,
every time.
Ethan. I respect it. And I respect you backing up your plays with money, my dude. What up, Salt Dirt?
Everyone's getting rolling now. So, hey, if you guys have any questions about Bet Openly, about Gino, about his history, like you got a little tidbit there. Yeah, I did get you last time, Ethan. That's a bit, but it broke a very long streak of you getting me.
Now, Ethan, I want you to reply in chat. Does Ethan wait for your card and then find your weaknesses, or is he giving them out first and challenging you? I'm just curious, because there's two ways to like challenge a capper or challenge a sharp.
Are you waiting for Ethan to answer? Or do you want me to
Does
tell
Ethan send you plays, or does he look at your card and find your weaknesses?
He just does it live on the show. Like we can see his chat popping up right here. So it's on Mondays. I don't post anything. I don't tweet anything. He waits for me to talk and then types on in Clint shot bet. Like this is the one. I'll take the other side. Like, so he waits for me to give my info and then he goes, I'll take the other side of it.
You and Maddie changed it a lot. Like I had no plans to add method of victory. I had no plans. And dude, it's crazy. People create and house method of victories all day.
Yeah.
My favorite tweets at us are I didn't really want, like I didn't have a lean on this fight, but I just took, because I knew he couldn't win that way. Like I wasn't sure how he was going to win, but I didn't think he'd win that way. So that's been fun because you guys have taught me so much. I couldn't be more square when it comes to UFC. I bet it. Maddie's in my ear. We'll watch the fights. We'll start drinking. We'll order in food and hang. But man, it's tough to cap.
Absolutely.
So tough.
It is really, really tough. It's probably, I've said it's the most volatile sport that there is. Like I know some people will argue with me on other stuff, but like basketball, you know, they set a total at what, 246 and a half, and you'll lose by a hook. Like they know exactly how many points are going to be in every single basketball game. With MMA, you've got stuff where, like the example I gave this past weekend, it's 2 a.m. and some 115-pound woman just head kicked someone twice her height. Nobody saw that coming. You know, it just, the example that I love to give, Gino, is like, if you compare MMA to baseball, it's like if you've got a 10-run lead, bottom of the ninth, they smash a home run, everybody goes nuts. It's 10-1. It doesn't matter. It makes zero difference.
Yep.
But if you hit a home run at any point in time at MMA, that's it. It's over. So
no, I know. Remember, I gave you some advice. That I don't want to just make fun of myself the whole show, but do you remember how I wanted tap outs to only be 1 point?
Yeah, your scoring system that you came up with.
Oh man, you and all my MMA guys are like, bro, stick to big four. stick to big four.
You were thinking outside the box, though. I like the idea of thinking outside the box.
That to me was the home run. They went, you tap them out. That round ends right there.
Yep.
They go back on their corners. They won that round. Maybe make it a 10-8. So it's 2 point, whatever. I don't think I'll buy you over on the show, huh? I guess it's not fair because when you physically knock someone out, the fight's over. And I guess it would devalue wrestling a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because getting dominant positions, like getting a rear naked choke, or even if it's an armbar or something like that, it's so hard to get to those spots in the first place that, yeah, if you had to go, okay, you got 1 point, congratulations, now start over next round, that guy's in trouble. It takes a lot of work to get there. We got a question in the chat. Salt Dirt says, I'm new to Bet Openly. First off, thank you and welcome. Do we have live bets for MMA?
That's a good question. You know, I asked for it. So we partner with OddsJam, and OddsJam, what we call a consensus line. I pull Pinnacle, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, and Bovada. So those are the 5. And I'm giving you a long answer, but I'll give you the straight answer. They added MMA recently, and then they let me add method of victory. And I just requested on December 15th for live. And he told me he would have it by December 1. So he's running out of time. So I believe the answer is it's not currently there, but it's going to be there in a week.
Wow.
I believe.
All right. It's going to be tough because I actually love live betting on Bet Openly. Usually I do it during football and hockey. The problem is the window of that betting getting accepted is so thin. With
So
MMA, I feel like it would just have to be between rounds,
it would
for
have to
someone.
be.
Yeah, because the number moves so quickly. If somebody
Yeah.
gets taken down or somebody gets clipped, suddenly the number swings massively.
And the craziest part, and to your point, Clint, so we can add provisions. So, I don't want to sound reckless because I genuinely started Bet Openly to save people money. I did it for myself. Like uh everything I lost so much money in my 20s. And so the reason I tell you that is we'll release it live with the same 90-second clips. And then from there, you guys got to tell us. Like maybe Clint will hit DM me and say, hey, Gino, they need to only be open for 15 seconds. And that might be the solution. So definitely shoot me DMs on how you see live betting. Peer to peer really isn't the best for live, but ironically, it is the best for live because the live has so much width on other sports. So that's where I'm at. So I believe the technical answer is December. You'll see live betting, and we hesitated because we have a lag. It's dangerous. You don't want in sports. Basketball. Okay, they make a 3, they make a 2. Who cares? But someone gets behind someone in MMA and bets it live right away. It's tough. So we'll find a way. There's always a way. Let's just say that.
There's always a way, and I love that attitude. It's absolutely going to be a thing that works. But it's going to be tough because with MMA, you got to keep one eye on the odds screen. So, and if you're waiting on Bet Openly for that window to open for something to pop in like that, you got to know, you got to be sure on what you're doing before you either clicked or bet accept. So that'll be fun to see how that ends up working out. My guy Dream said, I would be pissed if I choked someone out and they got up and knocked me out a minute later. He's also not liking the submission point scoring.
He probably knows MMA better than me. And I got to give respect where it's due. That I guess I was with Maddie. We were betting games, and I was just like, they're less fights. Some people just wrestle, and I was like, that was my way of deterring it. But clearly not a popular choice, so it will not be something that Dana White considers.
I don't know. Yeah, call up Dana, call up the PFL, see maybe you can get something going.
Have they ever changed any points? I'm not saying as drastic as mine. Have they ever made changes? The NFL just changed their kickoff. Has MMA changed anything since they started?
They actually just made a rule change. They just did recently. So it's funny, actually. You got to go all the way back to the beginning of MMA. There's an attack called a 12-6 elbow. And if you can think of the perfect example is the guys that do the karate showcases where they put a little towel down and then they smash a ton of bricks and they break them all the way through, that kind of thing. That's the reason the
because how strong an elbow is?
Exactly, yeah. So you can elbow any way you want, but as soon as you do this, if it's going from 12-6, they're like, no, you'll destroy somebody's face. That is illegal. So they just recently overturned that because that is the real reason that was illegal, is because quite literally somebody who was making the rule sets for MMA or, approving it, the commission, whatever, they were trying to research MMA, went to one of those karate shows, saw the guy break all those bricks and went, oh, fuck, we can't let people do that. So it was a totally nonsensical, it doesn't really apply type of mindset. So they just got that turned over. And then the other one was when an opponent is considered grounded, you can't knee them in the head. So no kicks to the head, no knees to the head. But they changed it from when you have one hand on the ground. A lot of fighters were gaming the system. So if you got put down in kind of a half weird situation where you're a big, powerful, strong semi wrestler type dude, you can just go to town kneeing people. And they went, okay, now if I put my hand down, you can't do that anymore. My head is safe. But they're not really down. They were just doing it because that's what the rule said. So the UFC did away with that now I think the term is that the hand has to be weight bearing, or you've got to be on a knee before you're truly considered a downed opponent. So it's a little bit different now, and I think that's a good rule change because people can be put in. There was a couple of disqualifications where people were trying to game the system, picking up their hand and putting it down like this. So like you never knew when they were actually down or not. So you throw a strike at the wrong time, you get disqualified for an illegal knee. It was a mess. It was a mess. So it's a good rule change. Good rule change.
And the one they definitely kept is you can't hit the dude in the back of the head, right?
Yeah, that is still a rule, although it doesn't seem to be something they're enforcing as much as we would like them to. This last weekend, I don't know if you saw. Actually, sorry, the weekend before, the Michael Chandler Charles Oliveira fight at UFC 309.
Yep.
Michael Chandler was just pounding Oliveira in the back of the head in round 5, like 8 consecutive shots, and the ref just stared at him, didn't say a damn thing. That's one of those. That's one of those ones where, oh, judging and officiating is the worst in MMA, Gino. It's always been bad, and I don't know what it's going to take to correct it. But stuff like that happens, and you count on the official to do the right thing and stop the fight or warn the fighter or something. And if they miss something like that, you're just screwed, and your bet will get graded a loss. You'll lose your cash, and then if they turn it to a no contest 2 weeks later, you don't get your money back.
I feel like they need, because I think a verbal warning, but not breaking up, right? Because I remember Michael Taylor, he had him mounted, right? So if you stopped it for like slipping and hitting the back of the head, he loses that position. So I think they just need to have like some sort of sound or warning. To me would be better.
They'll usually warn them, and then like if they keep doing it, then they'll stand them up and take the position away. But in this case, he didn't even warn him at all. He just let him keep doing it.
Damn, that shit's dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, hey, I don't know. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I don't know if you
wanted I just wanted to see if I just wanted to come here and see your face, meet some of the dudes in here, let them know my DMs are always open. I know that sounds cliche, but I mean it. Our product, guys, we do product releases every 2 weeks. Our product releases are based on our users, period. The roadmap is based on the users. So I value Clint. I value Maddie. I value all of our partners in the MMA space. Give us feedback. If I had to just be honest, if there's one product, one sport that I just don't know as well as the fans, it's UFC MMA. So you got to tell me. I don't know what I don't know. You got to tell me what we're getting wrong and right.
And I think it's funny because when we first linked up, discovering Bet Openly, it's perfect for MMA. There's so many people out there with different opinions, and the you versus me approach, it works for MMA so well. The lines are more competitive. Then you can put your money where your mouth is when people disagree. I did that just this past weekend. Actually, I went ahead and paid somebody $100 because I was wrong on Tabitha Ricci. So it's an awesome model, and it's perfect for MMA gamblers. I think it's going to really continue to grow and take off and thrive. And the more people we can get on the platform, the better. Because I'm telling you guys, nobody takes feedback the way Gino does. Like if there's something that needs tweaking, or if you have an issue, or if there's a window of opportunity, like this guy legitimately is doing this for us, for the community, and it's awesome.
I appreciate you, brother. Calling clips. Good to see your face, brother. You're one of the good ones out there. I'm gonna walk away and give Clint a show back. Just know that I appreciate all my partners. I appreciate all of our users. Give us feedback. MMA is my weakest sport, and that doesn't mean I won't take your bet. I want to be clear on that. Just because I don't know something doesn't mean I won't drink and cheer for it. So keep it going, my dudes. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for stopping by, Gino. Do they need to know anything about the football game tonight? Chargers.
And I kind of like it square, but I kind of like the over. I think there's fireworks. I think it's like 30-27 San Diego.
Wow. Okay. All right. I was thinking Ravens, so now you got me all twisted up over here. All right.
We'll see. I appreciate you, Travis, too. Tell Travis I say what up. Everyone have a great day. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gino. Have a good one. Bye. All right, guys. There you go. That was our guy, Gino, from Bet Openly, founder, CEO, the man behind the machine. That was really cool. I've talked to Gino obviously a couple times myself, with him being the sponsor of the podcast, sponsor of the show. But first time doing a show live with him, with you guys on here. So, man, like we said, just make sure you hit him up, you guys. He is on Twitter. He is on Instagram. He is super responsive. So if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, especially regarding, Bet Openly and MMA related things, he's going to get back to you. And he's always open to chat with people, and he's always open to take a bet. So make sure you're talking with him, man. Oh, we've got Muhammad in the house. What's going on? Muhammad, I am Bruce Lee. Yeah, let's go. My guy Kong says, Clint, don't take Baltimore. Don't do it, Clint. Okay, let me rephrase that. Kong, I messed up. Don't do it, Clint. Baltimore all day. Lamar Jackson is 25-6 on Monday Night Football. Jim Harbaugh has never beaten John Harbaugh. Absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Jason saying fucking boring. Bro, you've been here for like 40 minutes. I can't imagine how boring the rest of your life is. If you've got 40 minutes to sit in a stream where you don't like the host and bitch about how terrible the show is, how sad is your Monday night? My God. Ethan Hershey says, Clint, settle this disagreement. Who wins, Aljo or Evloev? Boys. It's Evloev season. It's Evloev season, 1,000%. Let me tell you. So Aljamain Sterling, let's talk about it. Aljamain Sterling was the absolute pinnacle, the most hated champion that the UFC has ever had. Nobody wanted him to be there. And through sheer willpower and skill, the man somehow won over everybody. And for some reason, him losing to Sean O'Malley the way he did, he garnered sympathy. Everyone kind of latched onto him and was like, that's okay. We're okay. We still trust and support you, Aljamain. We should run that fight back, man. We believe in you. Everyone could not wait to run to the window to bet on Aljamain Sterling against Sean O'Malley, not realizing that Sean was the worst fight in the division for Aljamain Sterling. I knew, but nobody else was capable of processing that. So Aljamain moves up a weight class, makes his debut, looks incredible. But he fought a washed version of his opponent. Let me get Aljamain's record up here. I was not prepared to talk about this one. So Calvin Kattar has not looked good recently. There's something going on with that guy. Now, I don't want to take anything I don't want to take anything from Aljamain Sterling, but it took everything he had to control this guy, Calvin Kattar, for 15 minutes at this new weight class. Calvin Kattar is 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Like, the guy has taken 2 lifetimes worth of beatings and is not great at counter grappling. I thought he was going to be okay to like stand up a little bit later on in the fight, make it close deeper after giving up some early takedowns. But Aljamain just, classic dump and backpack type of strategy. That shit is not going to work against Movsar Evloev. Movsar Evloev is one of the sickest up-and-coming fighters you guys have ever seen. He is undefeated, 18-0. He's got tons of experience. He's got all the juice Russia can buy, and he's getting better with his striking, which I actually think is going to be a difference maker in this fight. Aljamain Sterling has a hard time closing range on people that are shorter and stubbier than he does. Look back at the Henry Cejudo fight. He won a split decision that I feel should have gone to Cejudo. It's going to be the same problem with Movsar Evloev. He's just not going to be able to take him down the way he is some of these tall, lanky bastards that he can just backpack right away. He's going to have a hard time getting in on the hips of Movsar Evloev. If there's somebody who can scramble with Aljo, who can grapple with Aljo, who can defend the submissions of Aljo, it's a guy like Movsar Evloev. Movsar is more, I believe, naturally suited to this weight class up a little bit. He's had more time to accumulate, to put the weight on, to get used to moving around these bigger boys. He's way more used to it. I actually think Movsar Evloev might knock out Aljamain Sterling. His boxing is getting better. His hands are clean. He's got decent power in his hands. I know he looks like he's pillow fisty, but that's when he's fighting a guy like Arnold Allen. Like, he's not going to knock out a guy like Arnold Allen, right? You can't expect him to. But when he gets in there and Aljamain Sterling has to go 15 or 25 hard minutes with him, I know it's a prelim fight, right? So 15 minutes with him. Aljamain Sterling is going to get stuck on the end of the offense of Movsar Evloev. And I think it's going to be a very clear Movsar fight. He's like a -225 favorite or something like that. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm all team Mobsar here, and I fully expect him to cause Aljo some problems. And I kind of can't wait because I know a lot of people are going to be betting the Aljo dog money side of things. This feels like the trappiest trap of all time to me because the bookies are setting it up on this one. They're gonna gobble up as much of that Aljamain Sterling money as they possibly can. Yeah, Lee knows what's up. Says I've got Mobsar minus 175. Love that. I need to run Diego and Aljamain first. Oh, Conclip's talking about doing some tape. Bet it big. Move the line. Love to see it. Love to see it. Yeah, that's one of those ones I didn't take a look at it, too far in advance. I've kind of had this one circled. I'm definitely gonna, throw him in a parlay or something like that. I like Mobsar a lot. Getting minus 175 on that though, and being able to hammer it just straight up is absolutely fantastic. Let's see here. Dream says I played Aljo plus 200. Hope I can get some CLV. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like the line as we get closer, people probably will come in on the Aljo side because I think the early bettors, the sharps, the guys that are moving the market around, they're going to be on the Evloev side. And then you're going to get the public coming in wondering why Aljamain Sterling is an underdog. And so that line probably will close a little bit as it gets closer, unless, of course, I don't know anything about, betting syndicates and shit like that, people with the super deep pockets. So there definitely is a chance that this line keeps on trucking if people with deep pockets are coming in on the Mobsar side. But I would expect the mass public action will come in on the Aljo side. That's what I would think. Yeah, Steph Curry says dogs are barking. Yeah, I think that's my boy Bo. He's going nuts out there. I think my wife is headed home with my daughter, and that's his absolute favorite person in the world. He loves my daughter, so he just goes nuts when she gets home from school. Let's go. All right. Anybody else got any questions or anything like that? I briefly touched on Macau because there wasn't a ton to say about it. If it wasn't for Piotr Jan, I mean, I pulled the full reverse sweep as far as my my bets go. Unfortunately, I thought Jan was going to get me the round 5 TKO over Davison Figueiredo, and that would kind of save my night a little bit, get a little bit back there. But Figueiredo, up at this weight class, up at 135, he just is durable as all shit. Like, you cannot finish Davison Figueiredo apparently at this weight class. Absolutely insane. The Tabitha Ricci and Yan Chunan fight, just embarrassing. I thought Tabitha Ricci was going to be looking for the takedowns. She tried, I think, 3 takedowns, and then just kind of abandoned ship on that game plan and was content to stay on the outside and not get hurt for the rest of the fight. It's a bummer because you guys know me. I mean, I started this show out of fandom, right? Like, I love these fighters. I love watching them compete. I'm a degenerate, so I want to bet on them while we're at it. But I try not to be too disparaging, but like, that was some bitch made shit. Like, Tabitha wanted nothing to do with that fight. And that was so frustrating. I understand not wanting to run face first into somebody who can knock you out and who hits harder than you. I wouldn't want to do it either, but that's why I'm not a professional fighter. Tabitha Ricci had to know that she had to take a punch or two to close the distance and get the takedown. And the one time she got in on Jan, like, you could tell she was like tipping her over. Jan's balance wasn't quite there. She got the body lock. I mean, Jan did a good job of standing back up and creating the space again. But Ricci had to go full Marab. She had to go full Marab. Keep pressing her, keep backing her up against the cage, keep grabbing on her, make her tired. Like, that was the game plan she had to go in there with. And she's been hanging out too much with her boxing pro boyfriend, apparently, because she just wanted to sit outside and strike instead. So very frustrating. When the fighter doesn't follow the game plan, you look like a fucking idiot. Like, that's the thing I've learned most about hosting an MMA betting related podcast. I can say whatever I want on every fight on this card, but when you get the one spot, especially when it's an underdog, and you're like, there is an opportunity here for this fighter to win, and they don't follow the game plan, you just look stupid. You just look so dumb. Because I had a guy tweeting at me that he was like, man, I don't know what you were doing. Ricci never wins that fight. They could run it 100 times and Ricci never wins that fight. And I'm sorry, like, the statistician in me just had to be like, yeah, that's not true. Like, I'm sorry, that's just false. Like, don't get me wrong, Yan had a perfect game plan tonight. She stuck to it. She executed it. Ricci had the worst game plan possible tonight, and it did not work. So it looks like it's 100-0, but that's never how fighting works. Look, the Aljamain Sterling and Piotr Jan fights, perfect example. The first fight, Petr Yan is just destroying Aljamain to the point that he took his opportunity at the belt and quit and got, gold wrapped around his waist unfittingly, etc. And in the rematch, he adjusted, and instead the fight went the other way. It was hyper competitive. He won the fight. He got the decision. But when people watched that first fight, they bet the second fight accordingly, going, I know exactly how this is going to end. It's just never 100-0. Now, was Tabitha Ricci a bad bet? Absolutely. You guys know me. I will absolutely confess anytime I fuck up. I've been doing it all year. That was a terrible read. It was a bad bet, but there's a path there. She didn't stick to it. And that's the part I can't control. So maybe still a bad bet, even if she does stick to the game plan. We'll never know. We'll never know. Muslim Salikov, the spinning heel kick from hell. My God. Poor Song Kenan gets an old ass opponent flown out there for him to have a banger of a fight with in front of his hometown crowd, and gets spinning heel kick to the shadow realm. Like, I feel so bad for that guy. I've always talked about Muslim Salikov, king of kung fu. I cannot figure the guy out. Cannot figure the guy out for the life of me. He always shows up and does exactly that kind of shit. So I thought about betting Song. Thankfully, I passed. That would have just been another L on the record, because I thought Song would be the better minute winner, but you can never count on Muslim Salikov to not spin. Eventually he will spin, and his head ended up in the third row there. So that was tough. That was tough. My guy Kong says, turned out to be the greatest MMA show by far. Thank you. I appreciate you, Kong. You're the best, man. Love you guys and your support. Yeah, Dream saying the Yan Yan parlay cashed with ease. And you guys know me. I talked about it. I was like, the Yan Yan parlay. That's that meme shit that I live for. I wanted to do that. And I talked myself into a Tabitha Ricci bet. It was right there. It was so easy. Ethan saying, Clint, when are we going to see Saftik or Keg back on the show? Ethan, Saftik is hard as hell to get a hold of. Let me tell you, my brother in the north has so many things going on. He's got a second kid now, so it's very difficult to get him on the show. I will try. We got him on once this year. We'll try again, of course, in 2025. But surprise, everybody, the Keg is going to be our guest for UFC 310. So bringing in the heavy hitters, Ethan, my guy, the Sports Keg, Jay, is going to be the guest on the show for next week's UFC 310 show. Can't wait. Can't wait. That's a stacked show. It's a big card. We are going to have a lot of fun talking about that one. So I'm very excited to have a very sharp guy like Keg coming in here to talk some fights with us. Speaking of which, you guys, if you're not doing anything for the Monday Night Football extravaganza that is coming up here in about an hour, I always suggest my guy Keg. He's doing a live stream, and you can get his in-play bets. He does in-play bullshit like I've never seen before. He hits 4, 5, and 6 to 1 props on people. He ladders up like passing props and shit like that. Like, he is so freaking good at what he does. If you use promo code Clint, that's CLINT, on the Keg site, you'll get a free week if you want to try out his stuff. And when he does these free shows where you can just like jump in the live chat like you guys are doing with me here, I always suggest people check them out, because he has an extremely good track record. He's the best gambler I've ever seen in my life. So check him out. Aaron, howdy. What's going on, buddy? Thank you very much for joining the show here. Oh, Ethan says my profile pic is what Keg looks like without a hat on. That's funny. That is okay. All right. I didn't understand that was actually Keg. That's too funny. Oh man. All right, guys. That's about all I've got for you. I know it was a short show, but we had Gino on for a little bit of a Q&A. He is absolutely awesome. We appreciate the hell out of him, especially for saving us gamblers money and sponsoring the podcast. That helps me feed the family and keep the show rolling here. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. You guys being the ones who show up, especially on a off week where there is no actual MMA to talk about. I will always try and do my best to bring you guys a fun and entertaining show, even on these weeks where there's not a lot to talk about. But yeah, my guy Ethan saying happy Thanksgiving and see you next weekend. That's what's up, everybody. In the States here, it is not UFC. What am I? Geez, I'm on autopilot. It is Thanksgiving weekend. So everybody's going to be traveling. Everybody's going to be seeing family. Everyone's going to be eating as much turkey as possible. I don't know what the hell is wrong with people. Ham is so superior to turkey, you guys. I don't get it. I do not understand. I get that it's Thanksgiving and the kids draw, they trace their hands and they make the little turkeys and all that kind of stuff. And, that's what they had when the pilgrims, we're not pilgrims anymore. Okay. Turkey is ass. Your weird uncle always wants to cook the turkey, or your aunt who has no idea what she's doing but wants to be helpful. They want to cook the turkey. They leave it in the oven for like 20 minutes too long. It's dry as powder in your mouth. You've got to douse the thing in gravy to be able to choke it down. Turkey sucks. Turkey is ass. It always has been. Get you a honey baked ham. That's where the real money is. You get a honey baked ham, you get some stuffing, you get some mashed potatoes. That's what we're talking about. Follow it up with the pie of your choice. I'm an apple guy. I'm not that big on pumpkin pie. I'm an apple pie type of guy. But that's how you do Thanksgiving, okay? And then you pass out, you take a nap, you watch half a football game because you fell asleep, and then you watch the other half of the next football game when you wake up. That's the perfect Thanksgiving. You're welcome. Thank you guys all for showing up here on the show. Nunya says, happy Thanksgiving, Clint. I'm thankful for you and your content, but you got to learn how to cook if you can't find a lady that can. Nunya, my guy, I have a lady that can cook. I'm all set to go there. Don't worry about it, but thank you. That is sound advice for anybody who is who's out there still looking. But thank you to all of you guys for this Thanksgiving. I want to tell you guys how thankful I am for you guys. I've been doing this podcast for a little over 6 years now, and it's been a long road. This has been a tough year, obviously. Personal life and podcast life. It's just been a real tough go for 2024. But I'm still here. I'm still here. And you guys are still here every single week. And that's what matters. That's what means the absolute world to me. As long as you guys are here to support me, I'll be here to give you the content and laughs, all that I can. Even if you're just laughing at my bad betting record, I'm going to do what I can to, make sure you guys are enjoying your Saturdays. We're going to talk fights. We got a lot more going. Oh, the MMA parlay, my guy, what's going on? Week break. Back at it. My man, absolutely couldn't be more true. This is a good week off for me, I think. I got a little bit of a heater going 2 weeks ago, and that really picked me up, gave me a big winning week, probably my biggest week of the year. Sucks to turn around and immediately shit the bed. I blame Wang Kong because, frankly, a break even or a small losing night, like that was digestible. The big losing night, yet again, the full reverse sweep is like, fuck me. It took a top 5 all-time UFC underdog upset to get me this weekend, and that's what happened. That it's like, that's, guys, I put a tweet out about this that I was like, if there's a landmine right now, I will find it. Like, that's because I can't escape this shit. I see people do this kind of stuff all the time where it's like 5-leg lock of the week type parlay. They're all massive favorites. You're getting even money or plus 120 or some shit on a 5-leg parlay. They just hit them. They just always hit them. And then I try to do it, and I find the one underdog that gets clocked and clubbed and subbed. It's like that gif where the guy is just like hitting papers on his desk. That's fucking me. That's me. So yeah, it's been rough, but this game is about longevity. This game is about, your steel underpants and how long you can wear those things and tough it out. And they're not getting rid of me, you guys. They're not getting rid of me. And I appreciate you guys for being here every single week. I know I've said that a bunch, but you guys really, it's been a long road. And I want to make sure I'm expressing that gratitude to you. And right now, especially huge shout out to my audio listeners. You guys in the chat right now are whooping ass, and you're always keeping me straight and interacting with me and talking with me, and I absolutely love it. The audio listeners never get their rub. Those guys are always tuning in, and they give me reviews. They're leaving 5 stars. I don't get to see their comments as often unless they leave reviews, but the numbers, believe it or not, on the audio are still trending up in the right direction, so I know we're picking people up. I know we're headed the right direction. I know we're making waves. To you audio listeners who I can't see, whose names I don't know, I love you guys too. I appreciate you guys almost as much as the people that tune in live, who I can see, whose names I know, who I can talk to. You guys are just so important to the future of this podcast. So thank you guys all as well for tuning in and listening. And if you are listening to this on audio, please do me a favor and leave a 5-star review. That would go a long way. Help your boy out. All right, guys. I've waxed poetically long enough. I can get out of your ear here at this point. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do on this football game tonight, because my gut says Ravens, like my guy Kong said, that, I want to bet on Lamar Jackson tonight, but the sharps are all on Chargers, and I'm somewhere stuck between sharp and square in every aspect of my life, especially when it comes to MMA and stuff like that. I see things that aren't there sometimes, trying to be sharp unintentionally, and that's how I feel tonight about this football game. So somebody tell me what the fuck to do. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna, hopefully it's a good football game. I need points from Lamar for fantasy football purposes. So let's go with that. All right, guys. Love you guys. Have a good one, and we will see you next week for UFC 310. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Travel safely. Travel safely. Chew your food, especially if the turkey is dry. Make sure you got some beer or water to get it down with, because I don't want anybody choking over Thanksgiving weekend. Love you guys. Let's roll.